Lia Bernardo, and welcome to Conscious Business. We're here at the Val Cucina showroom in Fresno, Rockwell. So with me today is Anabel Dumlao.
Hi.
Excellent. And Anabel, I want to talk to you about now is this whole concept of conscious business where you talk about the victim and the player. So enlighten us on this.
I wish I had come up with those terms. Actually, this is Fred Kofman's terminology. He wrote a book called Conscious Business, Creating Value Through Values. And Fred Kofman was one of the founders of Excellence back in the day. And one of the most powerful, let's say, levers that one can activate to obtain more sustainable, successful results would be, of course, you have to behave in a certain way. But besides behaving in a certain way, when those behaviors are not necessarily your default behaviors, and you need to change those behaviors so that they can get you to where you want to be, you need to shift your mindsets. And one of the most productive mindset shifts that can help a leader nowadays would be shifting from victim to player. Okay? So what you're talking about is a mindset shift, right? It's the illustrations of the two extremes. Do I adopt a mindset where I focus on everything that's outside of my control? I tend to blame circumstances for everything terrible in my life or in my business. That would be the victim mindset. And I personally have discovered that sometimes it's easier to refer to it as victimhood, because
Where it's another person's fault or something external is at fault.
exactly. So
it
you're
can-
innocent.
It can be the job, it can be
Macroeconomic
it
trends.
can be the heat of the sun, it can be anything.
The
As
typical-
long as it's outside of you.
Yes.
It can be your boss.
It's like
Maybe
there are two ways to classify every single event that
Okay.
happens, right? It's in your control or outside,
Yeah.
right? Those are the two vectors. So the victim mindset takes a look first at everything that's outside of your control. That's the tendency of the victim mindset. Because if it's everybody's fault that you are having trouble,
Naturally, it's so disappointing because you have no power over it. They have power over you.
absolutely. And so you're nowhere near the solution.
And you're always running the problem. So the hamster wheel becomes the problem over and over and over again.
That's
it's the
why
complainer.
true whining, right? And where really you're nowhere closer to solving the issue that's making you suffer.
And I just have to say, for people watching, we all get caught up in that. No matter how
No, absolutely.
enlightened you are, or no matter how in mastery you are, we get caught up in that one way or another. Okay,
Because
so
it's,
I just want to make that clear. So we're not putting labels.
No.
What we're doing here is we're creating awareness. So instead of looking at someone who acts this way, while you're listening to this, our advice would be focus on yourself, look inwards, and see, when do I behave this way? Because there are times we behave this way. There are times I behave this way, and there are times you behave that way.
Absolutely.
And the key here is recognizing it, because once it's recognized,
Then you can do
it's
something
easy
about
to
it.
shift.
That's the point of it. So this is a mindset, meaning the pattern of my thoughts that make me blame.
Yes.
Right? So blaming is the
Yes.
behavior. It's probably not serving you. Now, you're going to continue to blame if you have a victim mindset. Therefore, to stop blaming, I would like to shift to a different mindset, which is more productive than blaming.
And
right?
the shift is where consciousness comes in, because it's a conscious decision to shift.
Exactly. It does not happen in autopilot because we are not wired. We're actually wired as human beings to indulge in victimhood, okay? To blame anyone because that means I'm safe, I'm out of trouble. Because once I'm not at
Yes.
fault, I am loved by mommy and daddy,
Yeah,
by the
because it
tribe.
goes back to whose fault is it?
Exactly. It's
Right?
not mine.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm safe. However, as we become adults, that's no longer serving us.
Yeah.
Because then, what do we do about solving the issues that are making us suffer? So in that case, in business included, right? When things are not going our way, what we need to do is shift to a player mindset. So remember the two vectors? where you can focus on what's in your control or what's not. So if a victim focuses first on what's not under your control, the player does the opposite. My first focus is what is in my control. What can I do about it? Okay? It is not denying the fact that there are things outside of a leader's control, obviously. However, if I choose to focus on that, I will not be empowered to change the reality that's making me, my team, my business suffer.
Who am I in relation to what's going on?
So I have
How
to...
am I part of the problem?
Exactly.
Because when you're part of the problem,
You can become the part of the solution. Otherwise, you're definitely not going to be part of the solution. You have to wait for the solution to come to you.
and that's so disempowering.
And that's not leadership.
Absolutely. Remember, folks, victim, player. Are you going to blame or are you going to create? This is Conscious Business. Thank you for joining us.